Ladies and gentlemen, the Super Bowl has been decided. Conference championship weekend has come and gone. The cities of Seattle and the cities of New England are both fucking raring up and they are ready to go on February. Let me check what date that's actually going to be. February 13th. Actually, not the 13th. February 8th. The Super Bowl will be decided. Seattle Seahawks against the New England Patriots. It's going to be a crazy game. It's probably going to go a certain way, but we'll talk about that later. But before we do all of that, I just want to say, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady, thank you all for tuning into Kinetic Aesthetic. Make sure you like, subscribe, and follow on whatever platform that you are following or watching or listening to me in on. And it's your boy Jerm. Yes. So it's Kinetic Aesthetic. It is sports talk time. I know I am late into the week. I have been busy, to say the least. But I had to get at y'all before we have this final weekend, so I wanted to get this one out later, better than never. And so to do all of that, we're going to talk about so much that has happened in the world of sports. Giannis Antetokounmpo has officially announced that he's ready to go. We've got Bill Belichick being denied a first ballot Hall of Fame, which is crazy. We've got the conference championships, which I'm going to talk about in a second. And then we've just got, I still want to say more about the Bears and just how great the season was. So make sure you go ahead, get yourself some food, make sure you go ahead and get yourself some drink, whatever you got to do to get comfortable, because Kinetic Aesthetic is going to be coming right back to you. And we're going to be having a good rest of our time talking about this shit. All right, now first things first, we have to talk about these conference championship games. We're going to talk about New England against Denver first. Going into this game, I don't think anybody was really expecting Denver to have too much of a chance. I mean, you had Jarrett Stidham as your quarterback. We all know what you are with Bo Nix. We don't know what we are with Jarrett Stidham. We've seen him before. He wasn't that great, so we knew at best he was a backup, and he played up to it. Denver's defense did as much as they could. They kept the game close. It wasn't like they got blown off the water. It was a game where I was watching the score and just sort of watching it loosely on my laptop and everything, and I was able to just be like, they can maybe do this. This could be them getting through, but he ain't no Nick Foles. And at the end of the day, they just didn't have enough. Losing Bo was probably a death sentence right there. And it was just too much to overcome. I think the big real story for me is Drake May has not had a great postseason run at all. Now, he could turn it around, make him have a great-ass game in the Super Bowl, and he can really just end up, putting a stamp on a great season. But going across this entire playoffs whole, run, he has not played well. That game against the Chargers really is starting to, just badly, because there was no excuses. It wasn't like you were playing the Texans like you were in the divisional. You weren't playing Denver and you weren't on the road like in the conference championship. It was just a bad game. And he's reminding me of Ben Roethlisberger in his first couple years, where Ben didn't have any type of crazy years regular season wise as Drake had this year, but they didn't necessarily win because of him in the playoffs. So we'll see. Maybe he's going to be able to overcome that, but based off the team that he's going to be facing, I don't know if he's going to be able to go any further. Now, Seattle and LA, this was the game that I'll be honest, I have a coworker who called this the real Super Bowl, and to be honest with you, based off the way New England played, that was. I don't see how you have any other questions for Seattle after that game. They went out and they did everything they were supposed to do. That was a game where Sam Darnold, the young Sam Darnold, went out there and he put that game on his back. He was making all the throws he needed to. He put them up early. He had some great deep shots. You've got JSN going crazy. You've still got a running game that's going crazy. They just look complete. I don't know if I'm going to call them an all-time team, but they are really coming into form at the right time, and I don't see how anybody's going to stop them. That Seattle defense is just nasty, and I honestly feel like they can still be even better. So early Super Bowl prediction, I'm thinking this is going to pretty much go like how that Seattle against Denver Super Bowl win. I don't see how they're going to do anything. Drake May is already having a lot of problems with pressure this season in terms of him being one of the more sacked quarterbacks. So playing Seattle is not going to be a dose of medicine for that. And then you've got Will Campbell, who has already been struggling. It's going to get ugly, potentially going to get ugly. He's going to have to really stand in there, and he's at least going to be taking a lot of shots. But yeah, that's how the season's gone. I really don't. The playoffs were great. They were great up until the conference championship. I feel like once, and I don't say this just as a homer, but once the Bears were out, I felt like all the excitement of the playoffs were gone, and it was really shitty. You could at least have been looking forward to the AFC side of things and see maybe who was going to come out on top between Bo Nix and Drake May. But once Bo broke his ankle, it just sort of put a damper on the whole thing, and it just felt sort of inevitable that this is what we were getting. So I'm not complaining. I'm not going to say it's just like a bad thing. These are two good, interesting teams. It would be cool to see if Drake May can overcome that defense, or if they're going to just swallow his ass up. But the exciting teams aren't really the ones that made it that far. I think the league was really hoping for, if we were going to be honest with you, a Buffalo against Chicago. I think everybody wanted Josh Allen to really take that next step and at least get to a Super Bowl this year. So when he went down, that just took a big just part of it out. Not to mention, it was either Jacksonville or Buffalo who was a lot of the trendy picks to go there, who everybody was rooting for. And then on the NFC side of things, again, I'm not trying to be a homer, but the Chicago Bears have been the most exciting team, I think, over the past decade, just like regular season wise, just a team that you want to see play. I think once they were gone and you really saw who was left, the NFC just stopped being interesting. But it doesn't mean the Super Bowl is going to be boring. I think it's going to be a good game or entertaining either way. I'll enjoy watching Seattle do what they do. But yeah, I think that at this point, I'm ready to get the game over with. And when it comes to the whole awards and everything like that, I think they're going to give it to Matthew Stafford for MVP. I think that's sort of set in stone. Again, I don't even think this was really a good, crazy year where anybody really deserved it, so I can't really even go too crazy or have any really real thoughts about that. Moving on, something else that I wanted to talk about. I really ain't got too much to talk about the conference championship games and how they all went down. Shout out to Seattle. I'm really hoping that they win because I do want to see the city rocking. But moving on, the real crazy thing that happened in the NFL, one of the crazy things, we've had a whole bunch of coach hirings and everything like that. We had Bill Belichick, 8-time Super Bowl champion, 6 times with the New England Patriots, 2 times with the New York Giants as a coordinator, but 8 times this man has been the Super Bowl champion. And it was decided, we don't know which voters voted against him, but he was not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I am not somebody who is big on, I'm not trying to cape for this guy. He doesn't need to be caped for. You don't need to necessarily feel sorry for Bill Belichick. But this is just an example of when people just politic at the wrong time or when they try to do it in the wrong moment, because this is one of the most egregious, what are you doing? What are you trying to prove type of situations that I've seen in a long time. Not only does this hurt the Hall of Fame, it hurts everybody's credibility who's a Hall of Fame voter. You've already got people who are coming out just trying to talk about the assholes that did it. Yeah, Jimmy Johnson coming out and saying that. You got people who have votes coming out and saying, making it clear that they did, so they don't have to get lumped in with it. But I don't know why you would do that. I just feel, to me, and again, I'm not trying to cape to this man, but this is literally this to me is similar to not putting Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan in the Basketball Hall of Fame on the first vote. This is similar to when LeBron is up, you just make LeBron wait a year. Why would you do that? Why would you do something like that to somebody who's clearly, you don't have to call him the greatest, but you damn sure have to say that he's in the top 3. I just don't understand it. It would feel crazy to me. If he's not a first ballot Hall of Famer, I really don't know who is. And with all that being said, I just don't necessarily understand, the Hall of Fame itself has already come out and talked about how they have to review their voters, or something they can do in terms of they're not voting correctly. So they understand the backlash, and it's been severe and real. You've got former players who are coming out and ripping everybody who was a part of it, who is allowed this to happen. So it's not just people blowing smoke. It's not just the internet. This is real. And it reminds me of how sometimes we allow the wrong people to be in charge of these things, and we allow biases that shouldn't be there to influence our decisions, because this is not the first time it's happened. The most egregious one next to this one, in my opinion, was Terrell Owens, who they made wait for multiple years, even though he was the most clear-cut first ballot Hall of Famer just based off the way he had been productive. And the man was damn near 35, 36, I think 37 on Buffalo, having 1,000-yard seasons. It was always about personal issues or about petty vendettas that writers and that these voters would have against these players. And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I think is just BS and bullshit. That shouldn't be the case. It is not as if this is the steroid era of baseball, which even then, if you want to, I feel like this has made me review my thoughts on that, to where I do personally believe we should be allowing them in. If you have to put an asterisk next to their name while you do it, so be it. But there's no reason why we should be withholding somebody who has the major league home run record from the Hall of Fame. There's no reason why some of these other guys shouldn't be in. Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire deserve to be in. Maybe you have to put a whole new wing for them, just like that cursed era, that steroid era. That's okay, but damn it, they deserve to be in there. And I believe that. So I say all that to say, fuck the writers, fuck the people who are voting on it. I think sometimes you have to literally just leave it up to the players. Leave it up to players, leave it up to former coaches, leave it up to people who have actually been a part of that field and that world. And there's already been reports that it was maybe somebody like Bill Polian, who is a former NFL executive. And if that's the case, Bill Polian, fuck you. You're an old, jealous, white-ass old man who's mad because they were whooping on your team's ass in the mid. Maybe they were doing it with cheating, but you know what? You weren't doing enough. Peyton Manning was losing to teams other than y'all in the playoffs as well. So I just think that it's something that at the end of the day, they're going to have to correct that. It's going to be a stain and a smudge on their record if he doesn't end up going in. And some people agree with it. I'll be honest, I see where they're coming from to a certain degree on maybe just him waiting a year, maybe that is a okay way to just punish him for that crime, even though it's years removed. But if that's the case, you have to do it with a lot of other guys. If that's the case, then I think other sports need to learn from that. If that's the case, you might need to do that for Tom Brady. And I'll be honest with you, it would feel even worse to me if they did it for Tom. So it's bullshit, but we shall see what happens with that. Alrighty, last thing that we want to talk about. We're going to talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo. It is official. He is ready to leave Milwaukee. He's finally ready to get rid of that nasty stench that's on him from being in that nasty ass state. He's got to get away from Green Bay. He's got to get away from Milwaukee. It's gross out there. Nobody wants to be from over there. The Brewers are nasty. It's just a gross fucking city. Horrible state, Wisconsin. Everything about it. But all jokes aside, he's ready to go. And to be honest with you, I think it's for the best for both teams. I think he's been wishy-washy doing this I will, no I won't type thing with them, to the point where I think he's ready to just go, and I think they're probably ready to move on. He won them a title. I feel the same way that I feel about LeBron after he won Cleveland their title. You have no regrets. You have nothing nobody can say. You did what you were drafted to do. Come to that city, win them a title, change the way we remember that franchise, because we're always gonna remember that they had the two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. He did everything he did, and I think when he retires, he's gonna be retiring and remembered as a Milwaukee Buck. because I don't think he's got how many years into his career. I don't think he has that many years left, especially of high-level play. Not to say that I think he'll be done in like 3 years. I think maybe like 5 or 6, but still, think about how long he was with Milwaukee. So I think they'll be fine. I think in his legacy, he'll be fine. Nobody should be mad at him. He did everything he could. Where I think he'll go, that is anybody's guess. The NBA is crazy. You don't know who's going to make these trades. I never would have thought that Luka Doncic would end up on the LA Lakers. But if I have to just type of think about who would try to make a splash and get him, I'm gonna say I think Golden State. I think they know that they need to get something done with Steph while he's still good. Try to get some more rings out of him. You don't have somebody that good and don't go ahead and go do something. New York also really wants to make a move. I know people have been rumored to have them linked to every big name trade that's been going on. So it's probably between those two spots, in my opinion, of where he'll go. But anybody who gets him, I think, is definitely going to become a favorite. They're definitely going to have a lot of momentum from that point on. It's always going to, from one thing I've noticed about basketball and one thing I've learned, you never expect somebody to go on and just make them a powerhouse overnight. It takes time for motherfuckers to gel. It can happen. It can happen in a lot of different places. Miami's also a different destination. Motherfuckers be hyping that up. There's a lot of different places that are going to be calling. Everybody's going to basically want Giannis. He's still Giannis. So we don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that goes. It'll be interesting to see what happens with him. But we're getting close to that point with the NBA trade, because pretty much right around the NBA trade deadline and the All-Star game is right where I really start to get interested and I start paying attention. So we're going to start talking about basketball more going forward, but that'll be the first big domino, because you don't really see a name that big move during the season that much. And it might not happen, because with him having an injury right now with that whole hamstring issue he's dealing with, they probably could just hold on to him, make a trade in the summer while they'll be able to get more for him. I wouldn't be mad at him for it. It would be weird to have him on the team when everybody knows he wants to be there. I think it's already weird, but you got to do what you got to do. And at the end of the day, they have the man under contract. But I think that's everything I had for y'all today. I really didn't have too much else I wanted to talk about. Like I said before, make sure you like, follow, subscribe on whatever platform that you're listening to me in on. I do make sure to look at everything that you guys send and support. Anybody that leaves a comment, it's always appreciated. And other than that, just continue to be good people, continue to drink a lot of water, continue to tell your friends and family that you love them, and remember to make sure you watch where you're going. So don't just be walking aimlessly. Don't just not look where you're going. You never know. You can trip and fall, and next thing you know, you'll break a fucking leg or bust a kneecap. But this has been your boy Jerm. This has been Kinetic Aesthetic. I want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Subscribe. But other than that, y'all have a good rest of your night. Subscribe.